Game over. Freddy wins. Fatality.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Corazon Pineda Isaac for mayor. Let's talk about Corazon and her plan on fighting crime.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Tonight, I will be talking about Corazon Pineda Isaac real quick, but I will be on with Andy DiMaggio shortly after. So let's talk about it. I want to go over her plan to fight crime here in the city of Yonkers. I want you to hear what she has to say about crime. Right there. I don't know. Anyway. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. I want to go over this Yonkers Times article. Corazon Pineda Isaacs lays out agenda in race for lays out crime agenda, in race for mayor. Did you guys catch this? Corazon, as you know, is running for mayor of the city of Yonkers. She is the councilwoman currently for the 2nd district, which encompasses the Ludlow Park area, as well as the Nodine Hill area, and other areas as well. By the current mayor's own admission, and she's basically saying that crime has increased, and that the mayor is saying crime is down is not true. By the current mayor's own admission, crime is increasing in Yonkers. The Yonkers Police Department says property crimes are up 10% over the last year, and shoplifting has doubled in the same period. There is a palpable sense of unease that I feel as I go door to door talking to residents. But for several years, the mayor has been telling us that Yonkers is among the safest cities in America while doing nothing to address the issue that reduces crime over the long term. Crime is increasing today because Mike Spano has ignored the issue for 3 terms. What he fails to recognize is the issue of crime is nothing new for many residents of Yonkers, especially in Black and Latino and poor neighborhoods. It's a common refrain I've heard in my council office for years. The senior citizens afraid of getting assaulted, the clergy member worried about hate crimes at their place of worship. The parent worried about their child walking to school, the shopper worried about the car getting broken into, or the business owner worried about getting robbed. All while he's lectured us on how safe we are. The mayor, a former Republican, has been out of touch with the real experiences of Yonkers residents. And I'm surprised that this article is on the Yonkers Times, criticizing the mayor in this manner. He's only waking up to it now because it's political threat to his attempt at a 4th term, one he needed to overturn term limits a 2nd time to run for. But the solution he is offering comes from the same tired playbook that Yonkers politicians have deployed since the 1970s. Hold press conference, talk tough, and blame the state government. This is the wrong approach. The way we make Yonkers safer long-term is by addressing the root causes of crime. Yonkers must invest in community services like mental health, intervention strategies like violence interrupters, affordable housing, education, after-school programs, good jobs, and community centers. These investments will make a major impact on the lives of our residents and keep us safer in the process. Imagine a child who turned 6 when the mayor first took office. That child grew up without adequate access to after-school programs, sports, and art. Her family may have had a hard time finding stable housing, and she may have endured trauma with no tools to manage it because there is little access to mental health services in the school or community. Today, that child is almost 18 years old and has missed out on so many. The police department plays a critical role, to be sure. I support providing them the tools they need to keep our communities and themselves safe, whether it's financial resources, personnel training, or equipment. We need to take a hard look at the department's structure. Under the current mayor, Yonkers does not have a dedicated domestic violence unit, gang unit, or burglary unit. Police often find themselves bogged down by paperwork, which takes them away from time in the field where they could be building up relationships and keeping the community safe. Restructuring the department by adding new dedicated units will help the police target their efforts more effectively. At the same time, police officers are and should be held to a higher standard. The police-community relationship works best when there is trust, and the on us to create, and it's on us to create that trust lies with the department and the officers themselves. I'm going to skip down a little bit. People need to feel safe in Yonkers. Is going to reach its true potential. I agree with the mayor that crime is one of the most important issues in our city, but I disagree on his approach. His policies may play well to his base, but they are out of touch with the reality that so many people in Yonkers face. We need a long-term plan, real investment in the community, not empty rhetoric and playbook from half a century ago. And that's Corazon Pineda Isaac criticizing the man. And people said, Freddie, did you see the Yonkers Times article? Did you see the article in the Yonkers Times? She's criticizing the mayor. That's it. She's press go. And now she's criticizing the mayor on crime and basically saying that the city of Yonkers is not safe. It's not one of the biggest or the safest big cities. Crime is up. And the mayor for the past 12 years has done nothing but talk tough. And that's it. Same old rhetoric, same playbook from the 1970s. That's what Corazon Pineda Isaac is saying. Now, is that what she really believes? Is that true? Or is that just because she's running for office herself? Let's take a look at, by the way, I wanted to show you guys this. We, the people of New York, to build a citizen vigilance center upstate. Coming soon to New York, a new We the People of New York Citizen Vigilance Center, office building designed after Thomas Jefferson's Virginia home in Monticello. Anyway, the general objective to develop a nationwide network of informed and responsible citizens capable of holding government accountable by compelling government officials at all levels to obey our federal and state constitutions with full reliance on the rights of the people and obligations of the government under the petition clause of the First Amendment. I support that. I definitely support that. Let's take a look at Corazon Pineda Isaac back in 2017. So again, she's tough on the mayor. She's criticizing him, saying crime is up. The mayor is giving us nothing but rhetoric, using the playbook from the 70s. This is her re-election bid back in 2017.
About your campaign. And your largest, your proudest achievements. Tell us a little bit about what you've done over the last 4 years that are your strongest achievements for the city of Yonkers.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's really been a pleasure to serve the people of the 2nd Council District. I have been humbled by the experience, and I'm grateful to do a job that I love, to work with people, to serve people, and to really do my best to improve conditions in our community. For me, some of my proudest accomplishments is early on in my tenure, I was able to allocate $1 million to the West Hab non-for-profit organization towards a community center right in Northern Hill. So thanks to that $1 million, we now have the Day Spring Community Center, which used to be the old Presbyterian Church, but now functions as a community center right in the district, right in the heart of Northern Hill, that offers resources, support, recreational activities, and
Sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry. What I was saying is that she's talking about the Dayspring Community Center, and she's been talking about this since 2017. I didn't even realize that. You know, the way you hear her now, you would think it just happened, last year sometime. And so that came about with West Hab, Rich Nightingale. Shout out to him, the West Hab guy. He built the affordable low-income building up there at the top of Nodine Hill, just after the church on the corner that was retrofitted to be, or it was repurposed, I should say, and turned into a community center. So that was the give back, the benefit to the community from West Hab. I mean, it's the least they could do. They're making tons of money. They're building everywhere, right? They are the sole pretty much go-to developers for affordable housing, and they get a lot of grant money for this, right? It's all about getting that federal tax money to do that. And then you take a lot of that, also millions of it as well. And then you put that in your pocket, right? So it's the least you could do, right? To do that. And so, I mean, she's been talking about this since we're in 2023. I'm just saying, it's 6 years now. 6 years now. I thought that just happened or something, but anyway, again, if you're just joining me, this stems from the article in the Yonkers Times where she criticizes the mayor specifically on crime. And I'll get into that here in a second when she gets into it.
And really a source for people and children and our youth to really use and really have those tools in order to be productive and positive in our communities. Another great accomplishment that I'm very proud of is I sponsored and passed and created a landlord registry. So a landlord registry, what is that? Well, that is a registry. So what I found was, let me step back a little bit, that, I would, talk to a lot of individuals. And some of the complaints that we were getting in our communities was, I don't have heat or certain times. I don't have working elevators. There were a lot of complaints in certain properties. And I did some research to try to find information on these landlords, and it was very difficult.
So the registry will register. How does this work? The landlord now has a violation on the building, and is this public?
Yeah, so the landlord registry. Another thing she's been talking about since 2017. I didn't even realize that either. All this stuff is old stuff. And so she basically created this idea for this landlord registry to give people information on the landlord of, potential apartment they're going to rent. They want to know. It's like a Carfax, right? It's like an apartment fax. And you would think they would already have this, right? All over the nation. And so she says she's passed it. I was confused. I didn't know it passed. Some people said it wasn't actually passed, but I guess she's saying it was passed. It's there, is it? I don't know. Is it there? Supposed to give people insight onto landlords to make sure that they're not renting from a slumlord. And I found this video, which I want to share. I thought it was interesting, and it's talking about this landlord registry. And so this is Mike Spano, the mayor, along with Minority Leader Mike Breen and Councilwoman Shanae Williams, as well as former Building Department Commissioner Vincent Peachy and some other individuals. Oh, I think that's Matt Gallagher in the back there. And they are talking about the landlord registry. But who's not there?
With the Minority Leader, City Council, Mike Green, with the council member from the First District, Shanae Williams. We also have Leslie, who is representing Councilwoman Pineda Isaac, who would be with us there this morning, but if we were just a little earlier, she would have been here, but we couldn't make that work. We have the police,
Did you hear that? He said if we would have started just a little earlier, she would have made it work or something like that. Why is she not at the press conference for the legislation that she has been talking about at least for 6 years now, that she introduced and she got passed? Shanae Williams goes up and talks about it. The mayor's there, Minority Leader Mike Breen, but not Corazon. I was confused about that. Does anybody know why that is? Can maybe somebody that was following politics, I wasn't involved or even paying attention back in 2017, but she constantly mentions the landlord registry, and that she got that passed, or she created that, and that was one of, again, that's one of her, crowning moments, right? That's one of her achievements. She's not for the people, that's why. But why is she not there if she's the one that created it? I would think she'd be front and center at the press conference, right?
Right. So we're creating a public registry that right now the buildings department is in the process of creating. And what's going to happen is
the building department was there.
Public registry where now when you buy a home, you're able to get an inspection on that home or not.
I'll move forward.
And that's passed?
There, but I'm very happy to know that it passed.
Do you feel that that'll eliminate the slumlord?
And that's
$700 with their families and have to spend less time working multiple jobs just to feed.
So she's talking about a living wage.
I often come across individuals who I speak to who work 4 to 5 jobs, 3 to 4 jobs, and they're still just living either still below their means or right within the cusp of their means. And unfortunately, if they had an employer who would provide a living wage, they maybe would have more time with their families and have to spend less time working multiple jobs just to feed their families and provide a roof.
Just backing up a little bit, I noticed that you went to Long Island U, was it?
I did. I went to Long Island University. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business with a concentration in finance.
You worked with AXA. You have a 7, a 63,
I do.
a 6. Do you think that these licenses and education have helped you to raise these and understand these numbers to bring, let's say, $1 million to a project?
So yes, I do feel that my financial background has helped me because a big responsibility of the city council is the budget. The budgetary process is one of the biggest responsibilities that we have on the council, is approving a budget, deciding how much money is going to go into a certain departments, our education, our police, fire, essential services. So I do use my financial background in order to help me make those decisions.
Running in the 2nd district, there's crime.
So she's gonna get into crime, but really quick. So she says she has a FINRA Series 7 license that's allows you to, and I had a license, Series 7 also license. I took the test, and it's very difficult. 60% of the population, or those who take it, I should say, fail it the first time. I've passed it the first time. Just saying, I like to brag about that. I'm just, but anyway, I got my 7 and 63 as well. I was down on Wall Street. And so she says she went and got her bachelor's in business administration, and that she utilizes that education and background in order to help her make the best decisions on the city budget, which is, that she says, their primary responsibility. That's probably the number one responsibility, is the city budget. But she also goes on to admit in this interview and others that the city has had financial issues. We've had money mismanagement, and she doesn't say it that way. I say it's money mismanagement, but the city has fallen short. And in many of those interviews, she is blaming the state for a lack of funds. And she says the state needs to change the funding formula when it comes to the school, blaming the state.
As there is anywhere, how would you rate your crime rate versus other districts at this point right now?
So one thing that that we often hear is that Yonkers is one of the safest cities. And I don't like to very often repeat that statement, although it's true, because what I feel is that sometimes people of our community.
I don't often like to repeat that statement, although it is true.
Specifically my district, don't always feel that way. And it's important that we are sympathetic and empathetic, right? To all the different communities that are within Yonkers. So for me, although Yonkers as a whole is a safe city, I make sure to stress, how do our communities compare to other communities? So for example, I talked about Northern Hill. One of the reasons why I fought so hard for a community center is because I know that Northern Hill is one of the hottest, right? I guess we could say one of the most, where crime is highest in the city. So one of the ways to combat crime is by bringing resources, by bringing services. So I'm hoping that if we could have a facility in the district that our youth could use, and maybe, not continue or not join a life of crime because they have positive services that they can go into. I think that helps crime. That's one way to help. Most recently, one of the things that the city started implemented is Operation Clean Sweep. So we found that there was a spike in criminal activity. It was gang related. So now we have Operation Clean Sweep. So if you go on Spruce, you'll see a mobile command center there. And they're there. Basically, it's like a mobile precinct, like a mini mobile precinct. And that during the nighttime, it brightens the community. There's a constant police present. People feel safer, and it deters, people who live a life of crime from performing additional crimes.
I read in your bio or on your website that you actually pushed for more firemen, more police officers. Is that right?
So what I did was, I think you're referring to the feasibility study. So I introduced a feasibility study that would basically do a study on response time, on the need assessment.
So she talks about basically that they have done a lot to fight crime, right? There's mobile command center on Spruce. They have, more officers positioned at different places. What do you call those, satellite stations or whatever. Basically she's saying that, we're doing things and, we've done things and we've made an impact. We've made a difference in crime. She talks about specifically the No Down Hill section, which has not really improved. In fact, there was an issue there where there was a bunch of shootings one year. I believe that was like 2020 and 2021. A lot of shootings were happening there. 4 people shot on one corner, and many people were calling for a mobile command center or something, or more officers to be just, hanging out on the corners there in No Down Hill. I went around speaking to residents and even some other business owners there who just said that, they don't know who represents them, or, they don't see anyone out here, and they need more cops out here. They need to see that cops are visible. And so eventually they would put a mobile command center there after I went and spoke about that. And it was there for, they usually have it there for a few days and then they take them off. But No Down Hill has largely remained the same. And if you go over by the food town, I believe it's like almost a hub for, immigrants who come to this country to work. And I would imagine they're undocumented, and I'm not stereotyping or trying to say anything negative towards them. They're coming here to work hard and trying to find a way through life. So, God bless them. I'm just saying that you go there, you see them, and sometimes, there's guys hanging out there that, like, not hanging out, they're sitting there, and then they slumped over sleeping. There'd be like 3 of them just sleeping, with their heads in their arms. Others would be talking, and they're having their cervezas, the beers. And it just looks like, it's a third world country. And I was told to go behind the dumpster there because there's human feces. And I wasn't going to go check that out. I just took their word for it. And, I hope that's not the case. But maybe they need to check that. I would imagine maybe homeless people will go back there. And there's also prostitution happening on that street. I believe that's Ash. Right. And, I pulled up into that food town one time to go in there, and a prostitute walked up to me. I think she thought I was like trying to, I don't know, purchase, whatever you do, whatever you call it, And I said, no, wrong car. She said, oh, no, yeah, I think you, and I think I told that story before, but you can see them on Ash still, like, it's like a stroll, right? I was gonna say it's the stroll, the boulevard. They walk up and down there. Ash, when I cut through there, because since I've been doing this politics stuff, I, many times I drive just through the downtown area, especially early in the morning when a lot of cars ain't out. People are kind of already at their job, what they work. I mean, after like rush hour and stuff, I'll go and just see what's going on, see if there's any fire hydrants, like I found on No Down Hill, that may need to be fixed or whatever. And I just see things. And so it's very crazy in that area. And that's the area that she's represented, for the past, I don't know how many years now. And it hasn't improved. It hasn't changed. What has happened there? And so this is not like personal against her or anyone that I speak to. I'm just trying to be fair because I do speak about the mayor and I have mentioned him and others. And so I just want to, show what I say is a hypocrisy. Now you're running for mayor. Now you're going to say it's not a safe city. It's not, we haven't been doing it. The city hasn't been doing enough to fight crime or combat crime. But when you wanted to continue as a council person, you wanted to make it look good so you could get elected. Now, when you want to take out the mayor, the top guy, now it doesn't look good. right? And so that's just what I'm not cool with, right? Like that's not what I'm cool with. Like, I can't go in with that and be quiet. Some people are just no, I'm going to do the podcast. I'm not, you can't dictate who, the podcast I'm going to do. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I wouldn't be me, right? I'd be going against everything that I represent. The criteria for the safest city was laughable. Yeah. I'm confused. Isn't that the time slot for Anthony DiMaggio? Yeah, he's coming on soon, Michelle. He'll be on in a minute here. I just want to have to do this because we have these elections coming on, and this is a lot of important stuff that I definitely need to talk about. So I wanted to show that, that saying one thing, saying another thing. I didn't understand what that whole, landlord registry thing was about. She speaks about that still to this day, but yet at the press conference, she was not there. Like she wasn't there. I mean, her aide was there, and even the mayor made some kind of comment that I don't know if that was a joke and he was being funny or he was trying to throw a little jab. I don't know what that was about, so that was interesting right there. She is just running in circles and confuse the voters. Yeah. So I'm just going to show something real quick because I am going to get on with Anthony DiMaggio here in a few minutes, about 10 minutes. I'll be on with Anthony. I just wanted to show a clip for a piece of this really quick. So
it's not that I have no plans, it's that that's my immediate term. And the things with politics is that once I finish out my term in the city council, then you see what's available. So I can't say, oh, I'm gonna run for mayor, I'm gonna run for council president, I'm gonna run for assembly, I'm gonna run for senate, because you have to know what seats are available, what seats are open, what seats are,
every seat is available every election.
That far ahead. How fluid are things? We didn't know that, I didn't even know that I have an opportunity to run for a third term. And now I do. So again, things change.
You hear that?
For me, it just makes sense to focus on what I know is certain.
I like that answer, but I'm a reporter.
Funding through other resources, and that community center is well on its way.
There we go. And so this is 3 years ago.
What were promises that you made, some of them that you have not fulfilled, or those that you have fulfilled? You want to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I am very proud of is that I wanted to put money towards a new community center in Southwest Yonkers, specifically my district. And early on in my tenure in city council, I was able to allocate $1 million. And now, we have the Day Spring Community Center, which is still under a lot of construction. But thanks to that commitment from the city, they were able to secure more funding from donors, secure more funding through other resources, and that community center is well on its way. There actually is going to be a groundbreaking for.
So this interview again, it's 2 years after the interview I just had shown, where she was talking about the community center. So 2 years later, still not built. That did take a while to get built. It actually, that's probably why I thought it was recent, because it was maybe finished within a year or two, and she was always talking about it and still is. And that's what it is. That's I want to.
Together. At least that's how they see it. Yeah. And what are your plans to address those issues?
So it's interesting because, there's the headline that Yonkers is the second safest city.
Here we
it's
go.
Not just the headline, it's actually a fact. But I understand how people can be frustrated when you live on Elm Street or you live on Victor or Linden or wherever, and you feel like, well, it doesn't feel like the second safest city in America of its size. So I'm very empathetic to being careful to say that when in my district, because I want people to know Yonkers, the city as a whole, is safe, but we understand that there's still pockets that need improvements. And I think that, we definitely would love to put more resources into the police department to add more police officers and increase manpower. It's just a budgetary issue. So as long as we can find the money and, we could fund these positions, we'd be happy to do it.
No.
It's just our most difficult thing to do.
You see, those are the things. We want these, but we don't want that. If we want to get more police officers on the street, that comes to a cost.
For the city, it does.
For the city.
It does.
And when the city has an extra cost, somebody has to pay for it. And that's the people who live in that city.
Right.
So we want a better protection. We want better services. We want better this and better that.
Right.
All that comes within cost.
Right.
Now, is the problem a budgetary cost issue or is a management issue?
It's both, to be honest. There's been structural mismanagement that has happened for many, many, many years, right? So when you come into administration, it doesn't get fixed within one term, 2 terms. It really is.
How many times?
Well, you got to look at how long it took to get there. That's potentially how long it might take.
Really?
And sometimes it's difficult because you have different people who govern different ways. So maybe when some progress starts happening, a new council member comes in or a new mayor comes in. So I think that's the very difficult part with government. So, but we're doing our best.
No, I know. You're doing your best. Yonkers has improved.
We have significantly. Our schools are doing much better. They're actually doing really, really well. Our statistics of children that are going to college and how well they're doing and the colleges they're getting into, that has improved dramatically. Yonkers public schools are really, they're doing tremendous work, even with the limited resources that they have. So yes, it all comes at a cost. We want more police on the street. That costs money. We definitely want to fund our schools as much as we can and get more support, get more resources. But it all comes at a cost to somebody. So the things that we work towards. So at the same time, we find ways to get creative. We find ways to fight and find places for the things that we really, really feel that that can't solve them.
So since we are talking about now,
Folks, I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. We get creative. You find the money somewhere from the state. You got to utilize your financial background to figure it out. If we need more cops to make your district safer, then you need to use your financial experience, your Series 7 license, sell some stocks and bonds and get the money. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Oh, you guys are too easy. I'll be right back with Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers police lieutenant.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
Come on, give it to us straight. 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 Come on, give it to us straight.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
I was raised in housing.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
No! I'll be right back with Anthony DiMaggio, so stay tuned.